Hello, hello.
Hi there.
How you doing, Steve?
Good. How you doing?
Not too shabby. I got a COVID vaccine on Sunday and like knocked me out on Monday. And I thought my hope was like maybe my body has learned, but nope, it still knocks me out for the whole day, which really sucks. But it's one of those necessities at this point.
Yeah, it's one of those that you feel bad for a couple days, but in the long run, you're going to be better off.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, luckily I don't get like a fever or anything. It just like I just get super exhausted and super tired. So I think my body's just trying to like work in overdrive to like figure out what the hell is going on. So just
Right.
tires it out.
Yeah, I know. I know people that have long COVID that feel like that all the time.
Oh, really? Wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
S-
Um, all right. Yeah, I'm just saying, checking the notes real quick. And then creating this template. Give me a few seconds here while I do this.
Yep.
All right, and then what's the 29th, I think? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. 29th. Do this. All right, cool. And let me share my screen. Uh, yeah, I'll just do this one. All right, cool. All right. Um, yeah, so we have a few action items actually. Mark or modeling language for SDKs. And then we still need to go over the message bus, but I actually had a lot of um comments, but I wanted to first talk to you, Steve, before I just like send out like a whole stream of things because I want to make sure like we're on the same page because
Okay.
maybe I'm missing something. So yeah, message bus proposal. And I was planning on talking to you. Actually, I was gonna message you on Slack because he hadn't been in one of the SIGs for a little bit to see maybe it was better to do it there. But I'm glad you caught it in today because it'll be easier to talk. I think talk through some of the points. Um, Cool. So I think those are the two. And then we have no new attendees. So we can just leave that. Okay, cool. So hello everyone. Thank you for attending today's SIG, the CDF Events implementation SIG. Um, Today we have a couple items. One being the modeling language for SDKs. I talked a little bit with some engineers on the Apple side to kind of get their opinions on some things as well, just kind of see, how some of the modeling languages, if they've used it, would suffice. Um, so I got some information mostly around Pickle. I don't know if it's going to be well suited for generating the SDKs. Maybe not for SDKs. But the thing that is good about Pickle, though, Pickle can generate JSON schema in a more readable fashion. So I thought this was really nice because one thing that is hard with the JSON schema specifically is one, it's redundant. Whenever you make a change, for instance, when I was updating the links proposal, I had to change every single event and update it n number of times. If we use something like Pickle to generate it, we would only have to do that in one spot or one area, and it should make that a lot easier, potentially. Specifically around things that are shared, like the context, like that would only need to be done in one spot, and then you can just include that in the Pickle, and then it would just generate the JSON schema. So I thought that was really nice. So what I'm getting at here is if we don't choose a modeling language soon, at least, let's say, we're still working through the proposal or whatnot, this might be a good stopgap, just to make it easier for, to generate the JSON schemas as well as like validation, et cetera. So I think there's still a place for Pickle. And thank you for mentioning that, last time, David. It wasn't actually a use case that I considered. But I think there is a place for it that we can actually use it for, specifically around JSON schema. And I did talk a little bit about uh, using it as a code generator for the SDKs, but actually was kind of it was indicated that that's probably not a good idea. And the reason for that is what we've kind of actually ran into with JSON schema, because they said Pickle also has the same issues with JSON schema, is dealing with different language paradigms. So, we have OO, we have inheritance, we have things like Go that doesn't really have OO, but has interfaces. But it's a different type of interface than your typical OO interface. It's like a duck typing interface. And then you have Rust, which is more of a procedural language with like some really nice concepts like union types and etc. So I think due to the vast differences in the language paradigms, I think relying on Pickle may not be a good bet for code generation. Um, but there are some niceties to be had here. So what I plan on doing is I'm gonna make a small demo to show how JSON schema can be generated, as well as potentially seeing how it fits into code generation for the SDKs. So I think these are the two big ones here that I thought were really nice. So one thing that is great about Pickle, right, which we have when we write JSON schema, when we model an enum, for example, right? You ran into this issue, David, is that we might model it differently in some areas versus other areas. So we're not very consistent in that regard. Even though it's completely valid, JSON schema, with Pickle, it always generates the same type of enum structure every single time. So it forces consistency there. So that's another benefit, is that it forces consistency across JSON schema. So I think this is also another really big benefit with using Pickle for generating JSON schema. So
And
the
do you think if we go forward with Pickle and um, like you said, it's going to force consistency that we would go through and do a cleanup of the
Yep.
SDK based on that?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think we do a little bit of a cleanup. And like I said, this is all going to be, we're going to try to aim for this to be a zero point 0.5 release. So if there are breaking changes with the cleanup, at least it'll be in zero point 0.5. But the whole goal with zero point 0.5 is actually, or for the SDKs at least, is to make it backwards compatible if possible. But that might not be the case, but we're going to try in our best efforts, because it really comes down to just how things are generated. And sometimes when things are generated, it doesn't kind of like adhere to like what we write manually. So that's kind of the issue there. But yeah, yeah, that's the plan though, Steve.
Okay.
um so so with that said, another thing that we talked about is that we use a custom code generator for each language. So I think if we're going to go down this pickle JSON schema route, and if we want to stick with just JSON schema, maybe just sticking with a single code generator for JSON schema might be a better bet than running our own custom ones, or at least forking one from like open source, etc., and seeing if that's a possibility. So I think that's some topics that we can talk about. But this is the conversations that I had. And I think at least having this demo first to kind of showcase Pickle and how well it can enforce consistency, as well as making things more readable, will be a long-term benefit for us. So I will try to prep this demo in the next implementation SIG. So that's going to be the goal. Okay. So next implementation SIG is going to be a Pickle demo for generating JSON schema. So I think, yeah, like I said, I think this is a good intermediary step for choosing a modeling language. And if it does a good enough job, we might not even need one, but I suspect we'll probably still need one. But I think this is definitely a good path forward, though, regardless. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like what I've investigated with Pickle. So that's kind of like where I'm at. And like I said, I'll definitely demo that in the next implementation, Sig. So, if you guys have any comments or etc., please let me know. If you want me to show something specific, I can definitely do that too. One thing I was going to show was particularly the enum case where we ran into issues with consistency and just generating it in a way that Rust couldn't handle it. So I think this will really help in the long run. Um, Cool. So yeah, that's kind of like the take with the modeling languages that I did. I will update the so we have a compatibility chart. I forgot where it was. I think it's in one of the GitHub issues. But I will update that with all my pickle findings and then make sure that that's recorded there as well. So yeah. Cool. So did you have any updates on this particular on modeling languages in general, David?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
So I made two experimentation. One to dig into more with JSON schema
Okay.
and to try to create to have instead of having multiple JSON. My two test was not to have multiple schema version like it is today, but
Yeah,
my
yeah.
approach today is to have one schema that could be used. So it's a big breaking change because it means no longer versioning per message, etc. that we have today,
Mhm.
but have one. So it means having exactly like we model in our code, I guess. So one context class, one etc. So I try to model with JSON schema and to use the untagged enum to try to create
Yeah, yeah.
polymorphisms, but it fails with a few generator. I try in every case, they were not able to create the one-off due to the lack of discriminator.
Can you
And
actually can you also put that in the GitHub issue as
yes,
well? Okay, awesome.
I will share some link and some of the JSON schema I created manually to do the test.
Okay. Great,
I
great,
test
great.
with external references, with internal references. And following that, the other approach I try is to use OpenAPI
Oh,
because
great, great.
OpenAPI is based on a fork of JSON schema
Right,
where
right.
there is the discriminator and there's a lot of implementation of OpenAPI are able to use this discriminator to create polymorphisms or tagged enum,
Mhm.
I could say. And I found, I didn't explore the full ecosystem of OpenAPI, but I noticed two tools that could be interesting. One with a very small ecosystem, the Rust one, etc., named Schema Tools, and another one with a bigger ecosystem named OpenAPI Generator. And why those are interesting? It's because we can provide our own templates to generate the code. And
Oh,
why
okay.
it's interesting, it means that the default template they provide doesn't support well package URL because
Right, right.
it's that time or some stuff like that. But we could maybe try to create templates that fits match maybe some of our expectation or some choice in terms of library, because often those generators for all language are limited and try to use only what is provided by the standard library of each language.
Right, right. Okay, okay.
But if we could start to say, hey, we would like maybe not to use pure struct, maybe to provide a fluent API to create stuff.
Hmm.
And also today for I guess for all SDK, we have the model, but we also have the tests that are not generated from part of the model,
Hmm.
but also the cloud event sample, etc. So we could one interesting stuff with this approach, we will be able to have this this open API schema with no API endpoint. We will just choose the component part and the what's its name, the model.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could tweak a little bit some templates to generate the documentation, to generate and part of the SDK. Not all the SDK, but at least the model part of the SDK. So context, event, etc.
Yeah.
I will try maybe for the next SIG also to do a demo.
Oh, great.
To do a demo, but I will warn, using this approach will be a breaking change with the current approach. It's also mean, yesterday I reread the primer. It also means some change regarding the primer documentation, where we say we have versioning per message, etc. It's also why we have duplication, like you mentioned, into context,
Yeah.
etc. So
Yeah,
it's
and like I said, like Pickle will actually, if we go with this route, would actually get rid of that. Well, at least hide it. So that could be a huge win there. But this is interesting too. So okay, cool. So I look forward to this demo. One thing that I thought you said that was interesting is potentially generating parts of the SDKs. I actually really like this approach because you don't have to generate everything, but if we can generate at least a good portion of it, I think that's more than sufficient as well. So I really like this line of thinking too. Um, cool. So was that it on the Open API?
sorry.
So oh, did you have anything more to say on the Open API investigation?
No. Question from Andrea, but
Oh, Andrea, yeah, sorry.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I joined late today.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Great stuff so far. So thanks for looking into this. I just wanted to mention about the versioning that I think it's great to look into all the options and definitely having like one single version. It's one of the options on the table. It would make some part of the technology side definitely simpler. I just wanted to say that the reason we went for multiple versioning until now was to help with adoption. So our thinking was we might create new versions or new events and make no changes at all to existing events, and that would create a new version, and it would make it maybe harder for users to discover whether the new version is relevant for them. Do they have to make any change on the way they produce events or not? And that's why we wanted to have separated versions. But that's not to say that it's not possible with a single version, maybe to find other ways to highlight the differences and to make this information available. So I'm not saying we should not change this. I just wanted to provide the context why
yes,
that was as
and
it
it's
is today.
also why I will say it's the current work to change the way we generate SDKs, the issue I have with polymorphisms, etc., imply breaking change that could break the existing ecosystem anyway, because, by example, the type field with the dev.cd events.subject.predicates.versioning have if we want to match OpenAPI or other approach, this field should be moved in another place, maybe under subject, etc. So it's a big, it's not only a breaking change, it's a fully incompatible approach versus what we have today.
Yeah, it
So
would just be
it means
completely
that
different. Yeah.
we will split the maybe the starting community. Also from the project on my side, I see it would be an issue also for Steve, etc., and for Spinnaker and for other tools,
Right.
Tecton, etc. So it's something to take care against continuing with the tools that we have today and the approach that we have today.
And I think if we change things around and we have a breaking change, I think it's going to be better to do that now.
Yes.
And if we go to like a single version, I think that will start laying the groundwork. And I don't think down the road we'll have as many dramatic breaking changes. We'll be able to manage the schema where, you may add a field and then down the road you may deprecate something, several iterations down the way. So I think doing this and getting everything kind of standardized and cleaned up will give us a good way to move forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I think too, like you said, doing it early is only going to be better because we're early and it's not as adopted, but also it lays a more solid foundation. So if we continue with like the foundation that we're currently on, like problems are just going to get more and more complicated and arise in potentially more nastier ways. So I think solving it now is definitely the way to go. So yeah, thank you, David, for investigating this. I think we have a lot of interesting topics here. So and it might be we go with like a hybrid approach, or maybe we go with like where we take some good things from this idea and some good things from another idea and kind of like combine them. I think that's fine as well. But I definitely like the investigation and the thoroughness that you've done. So thank you again. Um Cool. Was there any last words on this, David, or was that summarize everything you pretty much captured?
No, it's fine.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay, cool. So, in terms of the message bus proposal, this is something that I wanted to talk a little bit about. Mostly because when I was reading it, um, I didn't, it was kind of hard to understand like where and how the message bus was actually like architected. Like it kind of says like, oh, we can just use Kafka or et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't really show like where it fits in the picture, how things are going to talk to it. And there's like no diagrams, no codes. I think that's we need to kind of step back as well and add those because when I was reading it I was like, okay, this provides a lot of high level concepts, but I think we need to go a little bit deeper. And I know, Steve, you're a very busy person, so I wonder if it makes sense if like we can do like a more collaborative approach on trying to get these diagrams, trying to get like the more nitty gritty details, or if you're okay taking this yourself, that's fine, Steve. But I'm just trying to look out for your time, and I don't want this to all encompass your the time that you have. So please let me know what you prefer here. But I think we just need to be a little bit more granular in what we're talking about with the message bus proposal, because right now it's a little like it's a little yeah, it's a little like high level where when we were talking about like implementation, like we need to go down to more on the technical level and kind of explain like how these concepts are going to be used, where they're going to fit, how they fit in like some sort of architecture. We don't need to define like all the other architectures, but just showing like how it could be plugged into various systems, et cetera, et cetera. I think will go a long way. And I think images and diagrams really help with that. Does that make sense, Steve?
Yeah, and that's fine. If you could just either in comments for the PR or something, just throw out a couple, some of the items that you're looking for, just
Okay.
so that will just help me tailor what we got going on, and I'll give it a first pass, and then maybe we could do another review of it to make sure we have everything in place.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, because I was gonna write, so I have a bunch of comments. Like, actually, I just haven't hit reviewed yet because mostly I wanted to make sure we were on the same page with the proposal. And it sounds like we're in agreement that it does need some some depth there, and I think that's fine. So I will go ahead, and what I'll do is I'll clean up the necessary comment, or I'll submit the necessary comments that I think will make the document more clear, and kind of help with that.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then from there, I'll take a stab at it, and we can take a review of that. I just need to know in general what you were missing, so it
Gotcha,
just
gotcha.
just gives me some guidance on where to fill in the gaps.
All right. All right. Let me mark that down. Okay, cool. I will go ahead and do that. Oh, what is this, Andrea? Is this something new?
Um, no, this is not new. This is the first thing we added to this repo. Just wanted to, I mean, we had this use case about announcing security for
Oh,
automation,
right, right, right.
and there is a diagram in there, and I was guess this could be a starting point to maybe what we think the role of the message bus is. It's just an
Yes.
idea, I mean, because I think this is the use case we wanted to start with. So maybe, we could start with these, maybe give names to the interfaces or something, or evolve this diagram and um, use it as a starting point.
Yeah, definitely. That will help.
Okay, yeah, yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for, Andre. So thank you for sharing this. But yeah, I think the what Andre just mentioned, like like naming things as well as like kind of like laying out the message bus and how like it's architected, I think is kind of crucial. So okay, I will add my comment, or I will add the comments that are relevant to this discussion, rather than just kind of like send everything all at once, because I know that can be a little overwhelming. So I think we can definitely do this. And I think what we'll do next time, Steve, if you're here in the next SIG, let's make this the prime agenda item and kind of like go through a like kind of like a implementation SIG review. So we'll do this first and then do the demos after. Are you okay with that, Steve?
That works.
Okay, perfect. Because yeah, I definitely want to get this in, and have this moving. But yeah, I just want to make sure we're on the same page, which it sounds like we are. Well, at least I need to show what that page needs to look like. So I will go ahead and do that. Yeah, let me also then action item. Yeah, I'll say I need to do this as well. Cool. Collidation of CDF SIGs working. Oh, what's this, Andre?
Yeah, just wanted to bring this up. I mean, this is something we discussed in the TOC meeting. Basically, today we have a number of special interest groups and working groups within the CDF. But there is a lot of them are inactive, so there's nothing happening. And so we have an interoperability special interest group. Then we have the events special interest group, which was spawned of the interop one. And then we have the CD Events project with its own working groups. And the CDF Events project was the kind of child of the SIG events, special interest groups. And now we are having a lot of interesting conversation in this group, but
Mm-hmm.
there's pretty much nothing happening in the
The other
other
ones. Gotcha.
in Europe. So the proposal we had, and that it was kind of liked by the TOC, it was to say basically in the SIG interop and SIG events README pages, so to kind of archive those groups and update the README and redirect folks to this working group specifically. So you say if someone is interested in interoperability in the software space, software tool, SDLC, CI/CD space,
Mm-hmm.
to join this group. So, and then because this is what the actual work that we are doing about interoperability, it happens here. So if there are folks that are interested to come to this space and see if what they're doing is relevant to them. Because at the moment, what happens is that even if someone is interested in joining those other groups, those groups are basically not running and they're still advertised in the calendar and everything, but there's nothing happening. So we wanted to kind of, you know, redirect the attention to what is actually happening, and that's what
Okay.
is happening is here. Um, I just wanted to make sure there was no concern from anyone about that, and that's
No, I
before.
don't have any. I don't have any concerns as long as the goals are the same, and it sounds like they are. and I just want to make sure that's the case, at least for the interoperability one. It seems like that the goal there is the same. I'm not too familiar with the event SIG, but yeah, like I said, that's my only concern. As long as the goals are fine or the goals align, then yeah, I have no issues with it.
Yeah, the event SIG is basically it was basically this meeting before it was moved to be a project meeting. So in the early days of seed events was discussed in the event SIG, and then we created the seed events project, and then we created the working groups. But yeah, so there's nothing happening at the moment in the events SIG. And the idea is that, I mean, if someone is interested in interoperability and they come to this group, I mean, there's we say this is what we are discussing, and then if say now suddenly it has not happened for months and months, but say suddenly there are like 3-4 different parties say, oh yeah, we want to discuss interoperability, but we want to discuss it in a way that has nothing to do with what you're doing, and then okay, well then you can start a different group.
Right.
But just to direct potential interested people to the group that is actually working on interoperability today within the CDF.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah, and especially like if those ones aren't really making any or is don't really have too many participants. I think this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think let's go ahead and move forward with that, Andrea. I think that makes I think that's a really good idea, to be honest. And yeah, so I think was there anything left on that topic, Andrea, like consolidating, or was it just like to get like the okay and then like we'd merge it? Like what are the next steps, I guess is my question.
Yeah, no, it was just basically to get the okay, and then I will basically update the README for the other SIGs and update the calendars so that we don't have like meetings that do not happen there in the calendar. But yeah, so at the moment, no one is joining those meetings, so don't expect like 10 new people coming here.
People
It's
pop up.
just
Yeah. Just to make
it's
sure that
just
when they if there is a new person that's interested, that they're going to the right place. Yeah, I get it.
right.
Okay, cool.
That's it.
That sounds really good. All right. So with that said, I think that's pretty much all that we had for today. But like I said, like I'm gonna start prepping for this demo, and I'll also submit those comments. And then David will also demo in the next 2 weeks. So sounds like we have a lot of interesting or a lot of interesting topics for next week, as well as action items. So as always, I always appreciate everyone's attentiveness is here, and always appreciates people's input and knowledge. It's been really great having you guys here. So but yeah, so if you guys need me for anything specifically, like if I missed like a code review or whatnot, please just ping me, and I'll go ahead and submit those comments like probably within the next few hours, Steve. Just have a look out for that.
Great.
All right, cool. All right, with that said, I think we can kind of close up then, unless there was anything else.
No, I'm good.
All right,
Good
cool.
too.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you
Okay.
again, everyone. And then, yeah, I look forward to see you guys in the next implementation sake. So you guys have a good one. All right.
All right. See ya.
All right, bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.